the 1st of June. First order of business is to approve the minutes from the May.
I move to approve.
I second that.
Okay, motion by Naylor, seconded by King. Just for the record, Bill Childs is absent today and Phil O'Neill will be sitting in his absence. So Naylor,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes,
thank you. Welcome aboard, Phil.
thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Good to be seen.
Okay, first presentation is 514 Solon Road. Proposing material changes to siding of home, existing wood to vinyl, and window changes.
I'm not
Someone
seeing it.
here representing that?
I'm not seeing anyone.
Okay, well, with nobody in attendance, let's move on and hopefully they will appear after a bit. 113 Church Street.
Give me 1 second. You should have Rick Siegfried here.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Too many buttons to push at 8:30 in the morning. So if you remember, we talked about this job informally last time and you looked at the garage. This is the rest of the project. So you just look briefly at the existing front elevation. This is the revised front elevation where that little piece, which is added onto the existing garage, becomes the bathroom for the relocated master suite, which is behind that window that exists between the 2 columns of the pergola. And here's the left elevation. You don't really even notice much of a change on the left elevation, but that's existing.
Yeah, go down a little. Here,
Yeah, and then the windows just sort of spread out. There's that little bit of roof that pops out where the new entry is down on the far end there. So the existing back in between the 2 gables has a garage shape, kind of some awkward windows, half shuttered windows tucked in corners. And so we're adding this form in there to create a new entry.
The blank space is overlapping the detached garage, I assume.
The blank space.
Yeah, there should be a window there, except I don't think.
That's the bathroom. We didn't.
Yeah, but there's a garage next to that, I think.
Correct. Yes, there's a garage 5 feet away. So that, yes, that drawing is right between the 2 buildings.
Right.
and then the entry is shown as though it's between those 2 gable forms, but really it projects out over the little gable on the right side.
Projects out in front there a little bit.
And it has a like little hip roof coming down, and it overlaps it. So that's not really represented quite as it would be.
I could show you a different drawing if I had the screen, but this is what we submitted a month ago.
Gotcha.
We're talking about the house.
That one shutter,
Yeah.
send that to Kev or something.
Our real intent is to get rid of every shutter on the house.
Okay.
So what you're saying, George, is that the new porch entry that is put between the gable and towards the front of the house and the smaller gable actually comes out and beyond the smaller gable section, and there's a little bit of a hip roof return.
About 2 or 3 feet. And it only overlaps, it looks like 8 inches or 6 inches, a wall thickness, basically.
Right, it just comes out to catch the corner.
Right.
Okay,
I don't think it's a big deal.
no,
That
No.
just keeps throwing me a little bit. But I think it would be helpful to see, is this prelim or final? It's prelim, right?
Right, I mean, if you guys want to make it final, that'd be awesome. Everybody, we're the ones to get going, but
If it's, because
Your
I
call.
think for prelim, this is fine. I mean, I think we could, but I'd like to see what the exact, door, what the door and the side lights end up exactly like, so. But
Harry, where are we in progress on this?
This is a final review, Steve.
Okay, this is the final review. We can bring it on home. We can bring it on home.
I just have one quick question. The pitch on the north elevation, you're not changing the pitch with the new addition, right? As
correct.
we were breezing through those plans, it looked like the pitch had changed.
No, that existing garage stays the same.
You're
and then-
just continuing that out. Okay.
Yes.
yeah.
so.
You were
this
going
is-
to move the garage and you did?
That's, it sounds funny, that's gonna be a little bit site determined with the existing tree that's out there, but we're gonna slide the garage farther north.
Was it already shown a little further that direction on that first site plan we just saw?
The
Or is
one you
it-
just saw, it is not,
Okay, so that's the one submitted from a month ago.
right?
So if this is final, I think we should see the updated drawings. If we're giving prelim approval on this, that's fine. But I mean, I'd like to see where you ended up on that, if it's not quite the
Yeah.
same.
Can you give me the screen, Katie? Or here, who's running the show over there today?
Katie, do you want to share screen?
Yeah, that's what yeah.
Okay, Katie, can you, I'm going to stop sharing. Katie, can you let Rick Siegfried share screen?
Yeah, Harry, you just have to unstop sharing and he can share.
Okay.
All right, cool.
That's a pretty stiff breeze behind you, Rick.
It is.
It's blowing your hair all over the place.
Yeah. So this piece in the final solution, George, actually ends up coming out a little bit further.
Yeah, I
And you
mean,
can see where we did add windows along here in the new bedroom extension.
Rick, I don't think you're sharing.
Yeah.
Huh?
All we have is your screen, your face.
My face. Well, we want more than that. That won't ever be enough. Okay. How about now?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
No.
So what I was saying is this room got a little bit bigger, so it comes out
Oh,
farther than
well, yeah,
that few
that's-
inches. Yeah.
That's
so
quite different.
something to look at. And then there, we added some windows into that master bathroom. And then if we actually flip this around in the closets down here now.
Oh, and you added a window on the side. I was gonna ask about that,
yeah,
facing Church Street.
Right. So yeah, here's the new roof. Here's the other new roof. Here's the existing pergola. Existing front elevation.
Yeah.
Proposed front elevation. So there's a little window there, and then you landscape around. I think we thought that was a good move. Here's a window, new window on the north elevation.
Existing.
Existing, I'm sorry. Then here's the two new ones. Then here's that roof coming out just a little farther with that little hip on the corner.
Go back.
Back.
Yeah, okay. Thanks. Okay.
So what are we approving here then? Do we have these drawings in the village yet?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd
Oh,
say-
here's the new rear elevation. You see that these shutters up here are all gone down below. It's just, they were inconsistent and they were crowding things, and it just, only about a third of the windows on the house had them, so we just got rid of all of them. And then we changed these to higher windows since the garage is so close.
What?
You may not be allowed to get rid of their shutters.
Hi, Phil. It's good to see you there.
I think it's great.
I think it's great too.
I'm still kind
Any
of
further
focusing-
comments?
I'm still kind of focusing on the corner of the entry. Because now it looks like if you go down and let's see is there a side elevation view of that? It looks like it would, if it's hipping. Yeah, I mean,
It's probably just going to have to shed. I don't think this is drawn 100% right yet. That's going to have to
right,
shed
right.
back.
There's something that's not computing, especially with that. And then, okay, so I'm looking at those two and those ones.
This would be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
I guess I can get on board with
If it's been pushed out, it doesn't make any sense to do anything but a shed, and you're never gonna see it anyway, because it's unless you're standing at the new garage looking.
Well, yeah, if you're at the garage door, you'll
back.
see it. I mean, it'll appear. I think it's okay as a shed. I guess I'm just looking at all the glass, and I think the door glass ought to relate to the window glass there, like two high by, or 2 wide by 4 high versus 3 wide by 6 high. I was just thinking about how the fenestration scale.
Oh,
kind of,
you talk about the Muntins in the door.
yep.
Yeah,
That's fine.
But that's, yeah, otherwise, I think that looked pretty good. I think around the corner, it looked pretty consistent. So it's gonna be a little glass bay.
Right. And here's the garage still sliding back a little bit, but we may still bring it back to here, depending on what our arborist says about this tree. Dave's arborist.
And, right, I mean, I prefer that having that window in the front versus just blank. I guess that kind of, those consistent square windows at least do make that all read as an addition, which it is.
yeah, the whole thing looks so much better without the shutters.
It does.
Yeah.
Can you scroll it down for a sec? Did you have transoms in those windows at the rear?
We did, because that other garage is kind of right outside there. It's really down over here, but they've got a door to get out on the other side. And if I show you this
No, to
section,
the left, to the
Right.
south.
Those transoms are old.
Oh, they're there. Oh, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, to the
To the
Hall,
south.
Hall Street side.
Yeah.
Those are all there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
fine.
these guys, yeah.
Yeah, I think it looks good with adjustment of the muttons. Yeah.
Let's make a
Okay.
motion to move on here.
Yes, I move to approve as presented with attention to be given to the fenestration of the rear door. There are no shutters going forward. I think that was it.
Second,
Okay, motion by King, seconded by Naylor. King,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes,
Naylor.
yes.
Thank you, Rick.
Nice
Okay,
job.
thank you, everybody.
I'll
Don't
talk
go
to you
too-
later, Rick.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'll be back. I gotta change venues and I'll be back on for the rest of the meeting.
Okay.
Great, bye.
Did 514 Solon Road show up?
Not
No.
yet. I
Okay.
did send them an email though to
Okay.
remind them.
Would you let me know if they show up?
Will do.
Please? Okay. 94 North Main Street, new awning for new storefront.
Rick, I think you've got to stop your screen share.
Yep. I'll just quit Zoom.
It'll work.
It doesn't want me to quit. Stop. Okay, there we go. All right. See you
Thank
soon.
you.
There we go.
And I'm not seeing anybody for this either. I also sent an email. So if there's somebody out there that I'm not recognizing, raise your hand, but otherwise we might have to skip this one and move forward.
So the first one I think had issues with the way it was submitted, and we need to
Correct.
talk to them, and they but this, we could just approve that sign. I have no
Right.
problem with that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just that there's a piece of fabric hanging there, folks. It's on the valance in the zoning code. It says the text or the font cannot be any bigger than 8 inches. So they have shrunk it down to comply with the 8 inches. And that's basically what you're looking at. Apple Jacks toys, very simple.
Yeah, I'd go ahead and approve this and move on, then
Yeah.
we don't have to. spend
Assuming
time
we're
on it.
seeing what they're building, I move to approve.
Second,
Motion by King, seconded by Naylor. King,
Yes.
Naylor,
yes.
O'Neill.
yes,
Okay, thank you.
126 Olive Street, HSR required. Wondering if you could make appropriate comment on that.
I have the HSR on here.
I think the summary of the HSR was there was no adverse impact. The house was built, I want to say 1951.
51.
And that the suggestion from Prospectus was consideration in the bay window of putting a multi-pane type window to match the historic photograph.
Thank you.
Are they replacing the bay?
I
Looked
don't
like it.
know.
I think they
Yes.
are,
Okay,
but
Oh, yeah, I
Yes.
think there were problems with the roof.
there are, yeah, we probably don't have, I mean, this is another one where if we go through the whole
Is there
thing,
s- Is there
it's a
someone-
bunch of photographs and they're talking about removing windows and adding windows, and I think we want to
So,
see drawing. I think we
I-
need to see drawings of it to understand it.
I move to accept the HSR report.
Second,
Moved by Naylor, seconded by King to accept HSR. O'Neill,
yes,
Naylor,
Yes.
King.
yes.
Okay.
What is the project?
I don't think there's anybody here to represent them.
I'm here. I'm
I
here.
see Larry Moore.
Yes,
Yes.
that's
I'm here,
correct.
yeah.
All right, Larry, why don't you explain to us what you're doing here, how you got involved with this project?
Okay, well, I purchased the home and I want to take care of the window situation on the front. The bay window is in pretty tragic shape and I want to replace it with a flat sliding window. And as well as that garden window that you just went past. It's leaking and it's also in very bad repair. It's all rusty. And the next window to the right of that as well in the front of the house. They're all in really bad shape and I want to replace them consistently with the windows that are similar to the left of the house that were put in when the house was remodeled at some point. This window that you look at, the garden window, it's all rusted, it won't shut properly. It's got a lot of fogging in the window, so it's pretty in rough shape. And plus, that's not a look that was on the house originally. That was added at some other point, as well as the bay window. Neither of those existed in the original photograph that I was shown from I think the tax assessment photo.
Do we have that photo?
So I was shown the photo when she made the site inspection. Yeah, so these were all added at some point, but were not original.
Is this siding wood?
Yes, it is.
And are you proposing to put fiberglass or vinyl windows in?
Vinyl. And then the side that you're looking now at the garage side, these windows are also, as you can see, in pretty bad condition. So I wanted to replace those with substantially similar windows, which I provided the brochure and which showed the changes involved in that. So the front of the house and the side, there's not much change. I guess it would be the west side of the house. There's no change in the windows at all. The front of the house, there are the 3 windows that we talked about. And then the garage side, there's these 2 windows that need to be replaced. The back side is a little more extensive because it had bigger issues. So this is the existing slider. There were 3 sliders and we kind of jumped the gun and before I knew process. So this was the existing slider going out. I call it the mudroom. It's in okay shape and we didn't feel that it needed to be changed. It could be cleaned up and left, but the other 2 were damaged beyond repair. So this was a window. This is a window that goes to the washer and dryer, which is stacked, which you're looking into the back of a washer dryer situation. It's a small laundry room. So it didn't make sense for that to exist and it was leaking. So we just boarded it up. But we would like to not replace that window. It doesn't have a function. It doesn't make any sense. This window to the right would stay. That's a bedroom window, and it's in pretty good repair. So that one should stay.
Is that a replacement window, Larry? Is that existing?
I think they might have replaced that at some point because it seems newer. The latches are none of these latches match the latches on the front of the house. So I'm assuming this was replaced. In fact, I think this window was replaced at the time of the additions on the far side because it looks to be the same window to me.
And what's the
good repair?
What's the material of that window?
I think it's vinyl as well. I think it's vinyl.
Do we have a front elevation of the house?
Well, that's
Yes,
what
there's
we're-
one. Yeah. So this is what we put in to replace one of the sliders. It's essentially the same slider as the one that we left in place. And so this is replacing one of those sliders. There's 3 on the back side. And this is the window. Let me see. I can't see. Can you scroll down just a touch? Okay. That one is directly into a bathroom closet, which doesn't make sense. So that one we would like to eliminate.
So
is this the end of it? Because I think there's a general comment about, we're looking at these windows as photos of a little bit of your house.
Yes.
But I think to eliminate all these windows, we'd want to see a view, the entire elevation of your house drawn.
I think we have that. We have that in here somewhere for you.
Because
Yeah,
this
that's the other
obviously
side.
is changing the look of the house.
Right,
And-
this
and
is the
what- and it-
backside.
Irrespective
Yeah.
of what's inside, Larry, you know, we want to see how that changes the appearance of your house.
Yeah, we have that. We have a drawing of that as well that we submitted.
It's not in this
So,
package.
There were 3 documents that were submitted. One was the pamphlet of the windows, one was the exterior elevations front and back, and then we had the detailed photos that you're seeing right now.
Yeah, we never got the pamphlet, Larry. I never got that.
I resent it to Katie, and I think she mentioned that, and I resent it. So you should have that.
What's that?
We did get the window core packet. But if you look for the furnished.
And there's concept drawings too that you should have as well that are submitted at the same time.
Yeah, that's definitely what we'd like to see.
But it's,
Yeah. And we have hard copies of those as well that we submitted.
but it's not in the Zoom folder.
It wasn't put in this.
Everything's in the Zoom folder under that address that you're looking for.
Oh, yeah, no, it's in.
It's just in the ABR address file folder.
126 Olive Street, open up furnished. And scroll.
Yeah, there's several factors at play here.
I'm not seeing it.
Replacement windows being replaced and going back to the original windows, maybe. Like to see the picture of the old house.
That's part of the HSR.
Yeah,
They have a photograph of the old house.
okay,
How
well,
much is-
Page 2 has.
There, that's the front.
There you go.
Thank you.
Wait, do we get to it?
Yeah, it should be, I think further down on this one is the back as well.
Are you proposing to rebuild that porch?
No, just change the material of the facing. We're not gonna build it. It's fine as is. We just want to make it a different color, basically.
well, the diagram is significantly different, so you're not doing that.
Right.
Well, it's exactly the same place. It's just a different wood front. It won't be, the roofing, nothing will be changed on it. The posts turn to brown instead of white, and the front is going to be brown instead of white with some trim on it.
And the
You're
masonry,
proposing masonry
Yeah,
piers.
I'm
on the
sorry.
bottom
Yeah,
of
so
that?
we'll encase the bottom of them in masonry. Yes.
So you are
we call
proposing
it a
that, yeah.
rebuild.
We'd consider that a significant change. I mean,
Okay.
Looking at the configuration of these windows with the, I don't know, picture window and a double hung on either side,
Uh-huh.
I think that for me, that is appropriate for the age and scale of the house. It looks like from the drawing that the double hungs are actually wider than we'll call it window opening number 2 on your drawing.
Number 2 is the exact same size. I think it just represents it a little wrong, but it's the exact same size as is 3. The only one that's slightly smaller is 5, but it's not much smaller. 6 is exactly the same size as well. And the garage door is not going to change.
And then you're doing double hungs instead of the casement windows that are in that last section, opening 6.
Exactly. That again is an old window that it's got the cranks on it and they don't work, and it's kind of a mess.
Yeah, this house has had a lot of alteration because I've got the historic image up on my screen. And the area that covers number 1 and number 2 is an addition since 1964.
Right.
So I don't have any historic stuff on that. And then the
Who sent-
window in the kind of the gabled portion, that window is a solid fixed pane window with multi-paned glass, like one fixed pane window.
Right.
The entry area has had that portico added to it. At number 5 was a trio of 1/1 windows, and at number 6 was a pair of 1/1 windows. So there's been some real change, you know, so there's opportunity to do something different here, I think.
I don't have a
I,
problem.
well, I think there's one, I mean, the entry element just does not seem consistent with the rest of the architecture of the house.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was added when you look at this.
No,
If you
well,
wanna
I know
see
it's
the
added. I
historic
don't mean,
image, yeah, go ahead.
I mean the proposed entry though. I mean, having this one like Western timber look element on this white house or blue house, it's gonna be blue,
On a ranch.
does not seem consistent to me. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think that's gonna be a good look. I'm seeing that popping up around. It's kind of a timbered entry is like something that's popular. I
rage.
just don't think
Yeah,
it's,
I
I don't
agree.
think
And with
it's
the straight rail
appropriate
fence.
here.
Okay, that's fine. We'll just leave it as is then.
I would.
Yeah, because I don't have any problems with the windows, really.
Okay, yeah, we'll just leave that as is.
Okay.
I guess I'm not exactly sure what the windows are.
Could we see
what
the rear
proposed
elevation?
windows are.
Could we see the rear, guys? Because
Yeah, this is the rear right here.
that's where, I mean, that we're talking about the front.
Yeah, this is the
Where do
rear
those
right.
windows go away in the rear?
Well, the one is this one that's next to the slider, that would go away. That's R2 in your drawing,
That's going to disappear.
right? And then R4 would stay and R5 would be gone. R4 would move over about 18 inches, I believe it is, to center it better on the wall. It's not really centered. It kind of looks wonky. R5 would disappear all day. The rest would stay as is. So R4
We
would
might
be
need
more
to see,
different.
I mean, not to put too fine a point on this. I think you're doing things for functional reasons. You've changed function and you're moving windows around, but it's also very hard for us to see if that will look appropriate or balance it all.
Right. The only
You know,
change
just because there's a lot of moving, like you're saying that R4 is going to move over. I think it's got to move more than 18 inches because it's behind your bath vanity right now.
if we move it over, if you look at number 8 in the schematic below, we want to center it on that wall before the door. So it's probably more than 18 inches, yes.
Do you have, I mean, you don't have proposed elevations, right? Looks like you did these. It
yes,
looks like
this is
this is a reverse of the actual elevation of what appears in the rear.
Exactly. Yeah,
It's a mirror image of the rear elevation.
Right, what we wanted to do is so you could see how it lines up with the existing floor plan. See, as you can see, this mirror right now is
Mhm.
cockeyed over the sinks. It needs to be pushed to the side, and obviously you don't want a window over your master bathroom sinks.
We'd like to see where it is. We'd like to see where it is.
Are the windows in the bedroom sized for egress?
That's the existing size. So,
That doesn't matter. That
okay.
doesn't matter. They have to
Okay.
be sized for
They have to
egress.
be, I'm sorry, say that again?
They have to be sized for egress.
Okay, right.
I mean, this begs the question of whether, I mean, our town ordinance asks for an architect stamp drawing for changes. And obviously, it looks like you did this yourself, and I think it's a good study, helpful study, but it's not really a proposed drawing of what you're asking to do. You know, we meet every 2 weeks. I mean, I don't know if, I know, what does the board think about that?
I would say, I would move to revise and resubmit with not what we're going to do, and we're going to keep that window, but move it. We want to see where the window is going to be and what the window is. to know
Okay.
the materials and the exact design.
Okay.
What the siding's gonna look like when you're
The
done.
trim and so forth. Are you keeping your shutters? You know, you're not, you know, that kind of stuff. Also, I think you said that the front portico will remain the same. That doesn't require further explanation. We don't doubt for a minute that your windows are old, funky, and need to be replaced. So that point is well accepted. Where are we going? Also, when architectural things are made based on where you want to put your china cabinet, you know, we're not so into that. The stacked washer thing on the back of the house, getting rid of the window, I think that's fine. But sometimes if it was on the front of the house, it wouldn't be fine because the house would look silly without a window. You know? So we want to know where you're going and the materials that you're going with. And questions like the egress, can you get out of that bedroom and when there's a fire, you know, that's a very real code thing.
Sure. Okay.
I second the motion.
Okay, Joan, do you have all the comments?
I do, thank you.
Okay, motion by King, seconded by Naylor to revise and resubmit. O'Neill,
yes,
Naylor,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
okay.
And we're just revising the back of the house for, just to clarify, correct?
Well, no, you're doing windows on the front as well, I believe.
Okay. All
We
right.
want to see the whole thing,
As it's really gonna
as it
be.
will be.
Okay, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Okay,
Harry, he needs a stamp for that.
Just revise and resubmit it.
He will not need an architect's stamp, I guess is my question.
Well, if he's making structural changes, yes. Our drawings do, our ordinance says you need to have either drawings prepared by an engineer or an architect. So if he's doing structural drawings, you probably should get an architect involved.
Okay. I don't know if he's still with us or not.
yes, I am.
Okay. Okay, 355 East Washington, HSR on file.
Did we see this already once?
Yeah, this is mine.
And moving that garage back.
Nothing changed. This is just the final submittal.
I'd move to approve as presented.
Yeah,
I so move.
Second.
Motion by King, second by Naylor. King,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
O'Neill.
yes,
Okay,
Okay. 44 Bellevue.
this is a fence. You saw this back in the winter time, and they're just back with final submission. I think you guys wanted to see the fence once and for all. So the only thing I have to say,
I'm recused on this one.
okay, the only thing comment I have from a zoning standpoint is this little design over the gate exceeds the 6 feet, so that's not part of the fence. So the pergola, I guess, elevation here.
Oh, that's too bad. It's a nice addition if they.
Well,
It should be
Code
done at
says-
midnight.
the
Yeah.
code says 6 feet maximum height, so
They could go for a variance though if
if
they
they wanted
wanted.
to, they could go for a variance, correct?
Well, I move to approve as presented, but
Do you want to look at everything else? I mean,
I looked at it, yeah.
okay. I don't know if anybody's on here to talk about it. Katie?
There's a McHugh, yes.
I'm here. Jody McHugh.
Hi, Jody.
Hi, how are y'all doing this morning?
Doing good, thank you.
Good. So yeah, it's minor changes. The pink is the split rail fence. The only place that it changed would be by the driveway area. We dropped it down for visibility for backing out of the driveway. And then the blue, we switched from a picket fence that had 4-inch pickets and 2-inch spacing to 3-inch pickets and 1-inch spacing. They're on a corner lot and they're just looking for some more privacy. They're kind of wide open on that Brick Street side. So I just wanted to cut out, but you guys, I cut out when she was putting me back into the meeting. So the pergola, if they wanted you to go forward with that, they would need a variance for the height. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct, because it's over the 6 feet.
Okay.
But it would not be a cumbersome process with our endorsement, which I think we have.
Okay.
In this situation, you'd get your variance. So variances should be, you don't be afraid of the variance. It just takes some time.
Thank you. And then the green on the plan is a solid screen fence at a 5-foot height around the pool equipment. I think the very first one, if you wanted to see the colors.
Where is the pool equipment?
If you go in the driveway off of Bradley Street, it's the green lines to the right
Oh,
there.
I see. Okay, thank you.
So you have a motion.
Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Harry, go ahead.
Motion by Naylor, seconded by O'Neill. King,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes, with support for the arbor at the gate,
if they choose to go for a variance.
if they choose to go for variance, yes.
All right,
Can I,
go ahead. You can speak, Jody.
so I have one question for you. With COVID and the volatility of the market, just supply chain, we were wondering if we might be able to have a secondary option of a standard board-on-board wood fence painted backup in case the vinyl product's not available.
Oh, excellent. Thank you very much.
Rather than having to come back if we say the vinyl, this is our first choice, but if for some reason the vinyl is not available because of the supply chain, if that would be
You're saying do the same thing in wood.
that's not available in wood, so we would be saying a traditional board-on-board 6-foot high fence, painted white.
Unpainted,
They would want
board shadow box kind of fence?
shadow box fence, but painted white.
Oh, painted white. We don't really have a drawing to approve that. It's the same design.
It would not be the same design. It would be the traditional board
No,
on
but I meant the same,
shadow box fence.
Your typical shadow box,
Front, board on the back, board on the front.
right?
I could hold up a picture of it on my phone, although my video's not. Is that my control of the video or is that?
Now you can control your video. I think you have to start it.
Hold on. Let's see. Here we go. Sorry about that. So we're looking-
well, our meetings are pretty frequent, every 2 weeks.
That's
If
a
you
standard
find
board-on-board fence. Yeah, that's your standard board-on-board fence, Wendy.
Yeah,
Oh, all the way along there?
yeah,
Oh, no. Oh,
I think that the meetings are every 2 weeks, so if you find yourself in a bind, I think we can get a review pretty quickly,
Or
if
wait
it
3
comes
months
to
and do
that.
it right. Yeah.
or wait a couple months and do it the way it's proposed, because it's such a beautiful, it's a very nice design.
Okay, just thought we'd ask.
That's
Yeah.
a long run, right?
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I think did we do our motion and we approved?
We did.
Voted. 36 Philomethian Street.
So this is a window revision. They made some changes to the house. There was some windows that were already vinyl. They made some changes after you folks looked at the addition, and David from Paint and Paint or somebody from Paint and Paint will be here.
I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning, Dave.
David,
Morning.
Yes. So what we did here, so if you look at the bay window on the right side elevation, there are 6 existing windows on that right-hand side. All 6 of those existing windows there are vinyl. And then we're showing ghosted in, there's approximately, I think, 6 or 8 additional windows, a couple on the front, those 3 on the side, in addition to the ones in the bay window, 1 on the back, and those 4 on the left-hand side. So what we'd like to do is get permission to replace these windows. The 6 existing were vinyl. The rest of these other, I think, 8 windows were all wood and various levels of function, some with storm, some without, some working, some not working. This is something, in full disclosure, we replaced the vinyl windows thinking that, and then we thought we'd just replace them all in one out of order. So we've actually already done this. I just wanted to make that clear. And I know that's out of order and our mistake. So I apologize for that.
Yeah, we got some calls about it because it's a National Register district. And once you touch those windows, even though they were previously vinyl, the route would be to go to either aluminum clad or wood windows. So,
Or fiberglass will through.
or fiberglass is right, it's now coming on.
Are the
Because
new
this is a
windows
National
vinyl?
Register district, especially, I would not approve replacement with vinyl windows. But there are 2 other members of the board.
What happened to the,
I agree.
the window on the first floor in the parlor?
It's
Right here?
existing.
Is that,
Is that a storm window over the top of it?
is that the replacement?
No, that's the existing window, and that isn't being switched out.
Well, I think Wendy spoke very clearly, and yes, if we replace those vinyl windows, they should be done right with the windows that we usually approve. Clad, possibly fiberglass
Or wood?
or wood.
Do
Really?
you want me to put a motion on in the affirmative?
Yes,
I move to approve plans as presented.
with,
Final.
Well, I'm putting that on as a motion and then we can vote with comments.
I understand. Okay, I second the motion.
Okay, motion by Naylor, seconded by King to approve as submitted.
Bill, this is a motion forth in the positive, perhaps be voted down. That's why it was done. Question?
Naylor,
No, with guidance to replace windows in a National Register Historic District with either wood, aluminum clad, or consideration to fiberglass.
O'Neill,
Yes, because replacing the vinyl with the vinyl seems to me a legitimate exercise.
Dave, your motion fails.
Wait,
You
did
can
King
either
vote?
revise and resubmit as Ms.
Steve
Naylor.
vote? Did
Steve
vote?
didn't vote yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, King?
No. This is a chance to correct a vinyl window mistake. That's why I vote no.
Yeah, and just for what it's worth, I'm not sour grapes. We did this on the fly. I was moving quickly, and Harry caught it and called me, and I was extremely embarrassed. Harry can share my experience. So my apologies. We were just running, and I own it. So I do have these windows installed, so I will need to tear them out. I will resubmit an appropriate window, either wood, fiberglass, or otherwise. And understood. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
attitude.
Thanks,
Thank you
Dave.
very much.
Thanks, David.
David, just so you understand, you do have 10 days to appeal the decision of the ABR if you wish to do so, to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I guess I better call the roll. King,
I thought we did.
I started calling a roll before you voted. All right, disregard. We voted. We're done. I got too many. It's been a long weekend.
We're fine. We're fine. 79 West Street.
I really like the improvements to this design.
Material question.
I believe Rick was going to jump back on here.
Katie, is Rick coming back up?
This is John at RSA. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
it can, John.
Oh, Rick is not in yet, but we do expect him.
Do you want to just present, John? I think this could be
I'm
simple.
not familiar with this project. I haven't been working on it. I apologize for that. Been working on the marquee.
You want to move to,
Let's go on and come back, perhaps. 100 Church Street.
it's Rick's too.
Oh,
Is the person from Solon Road, Katie, is that person shown up? 514 Solon Road?
Katie.
Katie. Maybe she's on the phone.
Sorry, there's just sorry. Go ahead. What were you asking me?
it's 514 Solon would show up.
Yeah.
I just got off the phone with them.
Okay.
Somebody was called in sick, so they're gonna have to defer to the next meeting.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
But it's the same. So.
Is Rick there?
Not yet.
Dominic's here.
Yeah, Dominic's here.
Okay. Dominic, Steve King, I missed your introduction, I think, last time, or maybe the time before. Welcome to our motley crew.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll see you someday in person.
I hope so.
Starting in July, folks are going to have to come back to real meetings, I do believe.
Oh, when is that happening, did
really?
you say?
July.
Okay.
Oh, I'm up the lake right now.
We'll
In
see you
fact,
soon.
I think Dominic, your emails to me went to junk or something because I never got this stuff. I was, and they weren't in junk either. My wife. Anyways, I was halfway into the lake with waders on at 8:15 when my wife said, "Hey, you got a reminder about the meeting." So.
Rebecca just posted that she's got walk-ins.
Okay.
Let's do the walk-in.
Let's do the walk-ins.
That makes sense.
Who's the walk-in?
Rebecca
Rebecca
Pontuso.
Pantuso.
Okay.
Hmm? Mhm.
You should be on.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Harry, do you have our submittal or do we need to?
You can screen share.
All right. We submitted this for preliminary review. It is an addition to the rear of the house on Hall Street.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't know if anybody saw the drawings, but this is the existing house. We're gonna add a family room and master suite above with some deck.
Rebecca, nobody saw the drawings because this requires a variance.
But isn't the process to go to preliminary review, then
Only
get,
after, only after you get your rejection letter from the administrator. We've talked about that before.
I've gotten the rejection letter, so I should be on
When did you get the rejection letter? It was probably
last
after the,
week.
yeah, it was after the agenda was posted. So you'd be on for the next meeting.
So now we're stretching a variance out into like a 3-month process, because I would never
Pretty
get.
much. Pretty much.
Is that consistent across the board? Everybody's doing that?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We've got some time waiting for Rick.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for people that need a variance. I mean, they're basically waiting 6 months to do their project, to
Well,
even find out if they're possible to do their project, but I won't get it.
No, they, yeah. they're pushed back. Yeah.
Already did Marky.
Oh, you did Marky? Okay.
I don't know what, but here, let's just talk about this real quick. This is the,
What are you adding?
I'm adding this. Can you see my screen?
Mhm.
To the right, this is the existing home above,
Okay.
Front Street, Hall Street.
They talk about pushing it
This is
back.
the rear, and this is what we're asking to add. And I guess having some preliminary feedback would be welcomed. We're also trying to improve the existing.
Attic?
Oh, yeah, okay. I just pulled up a photo of this house. Okay. So you're trying to improve the front?
Improve the front,
Mhm.
and get the space in the back. So, this is probably the most indicative
Can you,
demonstration.
can we see the other two elevations?
Yeah, yeah. So there's the front. This
Yeah.
is what they have. This was clearly added at some point. They have like the tiniest little flare on this that I thought it might have been a shingle style at some point, but it wasn't. Nonetheless, this is
Those
our,
windows are set back like with a curve at the reveal?
yeah, there's really not a curve at the reveal. There's just like a 3-inch flare here. So I thought
Oh,
maybe,
that's very common in Chagrin. If you
yeah.
Yeah.
I would
want
So-
to hang on to that, that's a character, that's part of the character of those houses, yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to. I think it'll be more successful
Okay.
in
Yeah.
shingles as it will in siding,
Yeah, it's a nice little detail to add, and then the shingle. Mhm.
Why 3 windows?
I like everything below the eaves of the house, I mean, and I really like the wraparound rear porch. I think the rear addition looks pretty successful. It's a substantial addition. I don't like any of the groups of 3 windows up, and it's just maybe because they they read as a different style because they don't have I don't know if that's an egress issue, but they don't have even a check rail. to make
Yeah.
them look double hung. And I mean, they look a little wide. Like I kind of like the 2 windows up in width better than the 3 windows on that front gable.
Right.
I like
How
the
do you-
2.
How do you think, because I don't disagree. How do you think I deal with, I just don't want to put shutters on that double
Do you,
hung window, like,
well, you can just not have shutters up there.
yeah. And just do a pair, like it's the only pair in the whole house.
Yeah, but it goes there. The
Yeah,
pair
I
works.
think it feels good. I think it feels good without the shutters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And then if you kind of look at those 2 dormer, I mean, the the stair hall, this one that we're looking at, the shed dormer.
Yep.
I mean, that's balanced nicely. It's like placed in the middle. I'm kind of worried about the placement of the other side. It's like way back or off center. That, yeah, towards the
Yeah.
front.
Yeah.
And doesn't seem to have like completely found a home yet. So I mean, I'd take a look at those two elements. I think everything, I mean, you've done, this is a really substantial redo to this, to the house. And I think a lot, you know, it's done really nicely.
Yeah,
A lot to like.
yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So the variance here, so everybody understands what the variance is about. I'm gonna bring that
Where'd you
back
go?
up. Is
There.
the rear porch, the overhang on the, if you're looking at the rear elevation, that overhang encroaches into the setback.
Gotcha.
And I mentioned to Harry that in our final ARB submittal, we'll pull that in and avoid a variance because
That's the only variant?
that's the only variance, and it was honestly an oversight. I didn't catch the 3 inches that were encroaching the side yard, so we'll make this one not need a variance. I just wanted your preliminary feedback in this meeting so that we could submit for final at our next availability. And I communicated that in a letter and email and to Rob, so.
Do you, have you looked at it without any shutters at all?
No, I think they kind of want them. I admittedly think it needs it. It's a little, let me see down here.
You mean to have to.
It's
to
a
help
little
the
bit
windows-
like,
It'll be interesting when you come up, there'll be an HSR and we'll get to see the historic image of this house too.
yeah,
Which
and
might
it
give
really
us some
does
guidance.
look,
Yeah.
you know, like that. It does have shutters, you know, I think
In the original?
Budget.
By the 1964, whatever, it very likely did have shutters because everybody was going with the colonial revival stuff and may not have been when it was originally constructed. I'm guessing this house is like early 1900s, 1910, something like that.
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah, 05.
Yeah, right in there. Mhm.
And, you know, we certainly entertain taking the shutters off as a cost cutting strategy, because we're not gonna do, you know, vinyl Home Depot shutters. We're gonna do nice shutters. So there's a fair amount of costs, you know,
What-
in doing that.
Could
Well, I
you,
think yeah, go ahead.
could you
No.
show that's the new front elevation?
Yeah, we're actually getting rid of the 3 casements that I put in the front. I was originally trying to make this more comfortable. And then we finally just decided we can get rid of that.
Yeah,
And I probably should have gone back and restudied these, but didn't, because it's preliminary and, you know, we're trying to get in 2021.
I like the 2 double hungs instead of the 3 casements on that.
Yeah.
Kind of solid part of the front porch.
No, I think you're moving in the right direction. So
Is
Yeah.
that a big picture window in the new lower back room? There was a-
It's in the new front room. It is, and it's there, and there's
Existing.
not much I can do about it, but
Existing.
I thought
yeah,
it was in the back.
no.
That's in the front one. Oh,
This
yeah.
is the front.
Yeah.
Maybe vandals could break it.
It's not that bad. I guess you could make it another
usually
double hung.
those windows had a break, like they would be maybe a quarter. I
Yeah,
don't know if I call it a transom, but there would be a break. Like, look at the front of like any of the Queen Anne's around town. They have that picture window. It's
Yeah.
on my house. It's all over the place.
yeah.
I'm wondering if that was 2 double hungs.
Or a pair
Oh,
of
it might
double
have been
hungs with a
here.
with a
Yeah.
5 inches between them. Yeah.
That's probably what it was.
Maybe.
I've got the
With all
town.
that they're doing, with all that they're doing and the money they're spending, that would be nice to get rid of that window.
We'll just
Yeah,
spend their money some more.
Yeah, well, this is, yeah, Come on, come on, guys, look at this thing before
Okay.
and after, like, let's nitpick and,
No, it's good. Do you have another one? Do you have another walk-in you want us to look
yeah.
at?
If you're,
You got our attention. Rick's gonna run out of time here.
Yep.
Rick's sitting here. Are you guys ready for me?
Oh, Rick's there. Well,
Yeah.
we got.
You guys went
Rebecca-
back?
Okay, you
Rebecca-
might as well take Rick and then have come back to Becky.
Oh, okay.
not if I don't,
Hmm.
Okay. Sushi bar, Rick.
Okay,
So
Rick,
close,
you're up.
Okay.
29.
You guys gonna put it up or am I gonna put it up?
I got it already up there, Rick.
Okay,
I gotta start my screen share again.
okay.
Okay,
So,
Okay,
so Rick, I really like the changes to this. My only question, and it's more of a functional thing for you to study than for that the rail at the top of the screen
yeah,
seems like it could be right at eye height of a seating person. And you should like think about that, because it might be frustrating for people if they're like kind of like they can kind of almost look over it, but they can't, you know. It's an interesting, like I would think this could look very good with that lower than presented, but I'm fine with it as presented aesthetically. I think you've done a nice job with it and it looks good. It just made me wonder if I'm sitting there, am I going to be frustrated because I'm looking right at the top rail?
I'll go down and look at.
You're supposed to be looking at the person you're with.
George.
Especially down at the south end, it gets where the grade drops and we want that top rail level and we want our grid to kind of work.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's gonna be a footer under every fence post, but. So.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, did you see the picture of the mesh and all that?
Now, I'd like to see that.
I'll show it to you.
Yeah, I'm jumping the gun.
It's a photo, it's at the very end.
Those end elevations look way better.
One more, should be.
that's it, Rick.
At the end of the line?
Yeah,
Well, if you give me my screen share, give one. I've got, did you guys already do Murphy?
No.
No.
Still have to do that too, right?
yeah.
Correct.
Okay, and then I've got one to walk through. It sounds like Becky's already started walking one through, so if we do Murphy, then we can go back, you guys can go back to Becky if you want, and I'll show you, I'll get a picture of that mesh up on my screen here. And I'll show you the other thing we want to talk about, but I'm amazed you guys got through all that so fast. I thought I'm just sitting here making notes, had no idea you were already through the whole agenda. That's cool. All right.
We're blasting forward today. It's great.
All good. Okay, so.
Murphy,
I don't want to discourage a motion to approve, but I also, if you guys want to see that photo, we've got it. I just thought it was in the submittal.
You want me to stop my screen share?
What about if we, yeah, no, let's just take a look at it, Rick, and then we can just approve it. We'll be done.
Cool. All right.
You want me to stop the screen share?
Yeah, please. And I'll start the screen share. But I hate computers, right? Sorry. Hey, Tony. I can't get the email list to show up. It'll go to mail, but it won't show me the emails. On mail, but there's no emails to look at. Already down there. Okay. There. Oh, there you go. It's good to have IT for a partner.
Sony did a rescue.
Yeah, and I actually, once he did it, I knew the answer. I just got a little flustered. That is a 10-gauge.
Oh, okay.
That is powder coated black. That aluminum frame comes with it. So when we get these panels, they'll all be in that frame. And they'll be powder coated black in that mesh, and then it just screws to the wood frame.
Is that 2.5, 2.5?
2 inches.
So that's the mesh. George can see through that, can he?
I think I can.
I think I can. You gotta
Railing.
watch out though. You got that
It's the
wasabi.
railing.
Okay, so I like this mesh. That's
Yeah.
very transparent. I like it.
Yeah, so yeah, and the idea is like it's you know, we grow stuff on the corners, but not so much in the middle.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
That give the board what they need to.
A motion for final approval.
I think so. I would say this, Helen's old building is being changed in an Asian way for a restaurant, and none of this is attached to the building. So if times change and the restaurant changes to
Something else?
English tea house, we can take the fence down. Yeah.
Right. So, and you're like, yeah, this stuff's all staying up here. We're not.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
So we got a motion here. We got a vote. Who's
Got a
making a
motion
motion?
and a second. Yeah,
We have a second?
yeah, I think it's you. Yeah.
Okay, I will second.
So motion by Naylor, seconded by King. Naylor,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Okay, final approval granted.
All right, I'm gonna stop share here. You gonna pull Murphy up?
Yep.
Sir, okay, this is 100 Church Street. You guys looked at this for a preliminary at your last meeting. It's a fireplace on the south side. Go ahead and take over, Rick.
Okay, so you can see this is the one where you had to get a variance to be a couple inches from the property line. There's the elevations. If you could zoom in a little bit on the left one. We got rid of the steel box and instead there is an isokern or an isokern equivalent. Not sure if you guys are familiar with that. But it's a masonry system. It's a lightweight masonry system. So stone, we put 2-inch stone shoulders on there. And then up at the top, we have a copper chimney pot that is manufactured. So if you scroll up a little bit, see that.
Mhm.
And
That'll look nice.
that's it. I mean, it's gonna look cool.
This is real stone.
No exception.
No, that's cultured stone. There's a picture of the stone in the presentation though.
Mm.
If you can find that one here, that in that.
Yeah, the only thing I noticed on the drawing, Rick, was, and I'm sure you're gonna put a cricket behind this chimney.
Yeah, there'll be, yes.
And there's no stone to match on this house. I think the appearance of this stone's okay. I don't love that it's cultured. Somebody might have to redo it in 50 years, but it's gonna be mortared, right? Mortared look.
Yes. And if that whole house is
what's the mortared look? I mean, flush mortar?
Well, if you look, so Steve, if you look at that cultured stone, the picture underneath it, that would be if someone just set those, you could glue these stones on and that would be a dry laid look. There'd be no mortar between them, just space, which does not look at all traditional. The right-hand side looks like they mortared between them with a rake. I mean, if you bring the mortar out closer to the face of the stone, it looks probably more traditional than that.
Absolutely. I call it flush mortaring because when you rake it that deep, it looks like fake stone and this is a traditional style house. So having a traditional style mortar would make sense.
Yeah, let's call it struck joint because all they do is strike it with a concave tool it leaves it flush at the edges.
Struck joint is good.
Yeah,
Okay. There you go.
And yeah, I've never, since this stuff came out, specified a dry stack in this climate. It just doesn't work.
Right. Because you're letting the water all in behind it.
And then that glue's not, it's good.
Motion for final approval of plans is presented.
Second.
Okay, motion by Naylor, seconded by King for final approval. Naylor,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes, hesitantly.
Okay. Thanks, Rick.
Okay.
Bill, you're not a big cultured stone fan?
No, I think it would have been better in brick.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah, we talked about that, yeah.
Okay, that completes the agenda for this morning. I do believe that Becky's back for a walk-in.
And I got one too when this is all over, when you get done with Becky, but she was there first, so.
Right. Okay. Katie, you want to bring Becky back in?
Am I here?
Yeah, you're there.
here. Okay.
Okay. This is right on East Washington. It's right next to Catherine Garvey's, George, this garage.
We can't see anything yet.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
sorry.
good for you.
Thank you.
You gonna appear in person live?
Yeah.
You should.
Why, where did you guys go?
We're here. Where did you go?
Great question. You're not like on my toolbar, but you're talking to me. Never had that happen before.
Where's your IT person like Rick?
Yeah. One straight click and you're screwed forever. I mean, that's
Bottom, and if you click on the Zoom icon, it may tell you to go back to meeting. That's what mine would do.
Hi, Rob. Didn't see you before.
So irritating.
If we can see the
There.
plans, I know what Becky looks like.
There's, okay, we got, well, there's your.
We have
there
Becky.
you go.
Now you're
There we
going.
go.
There you got it.
Yeah, all right. We're good now.
All right, sorry about that. All right, so this is the garage, and actually you can see it here.
Is this Psycho's? Is this Psycho's old house? Yes.
I think so. It's to the right of Catherine Garvey.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
it is
thank you.
Psycho's old house.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That's the last name, by the way.
Sorry. Yeah. Well, I figured.
Oh,
I
yeah,
only
so
know it.
SIKO, yes.
I only know it as the York residence.
Okay.
Walter
Thank
and so this is the existing. It's vinyl sided board and batten. These are 6'6" to the peak, and then the corners are clipped. And he can't actually fit his truck in there. So we're proposing to make it one 8-foot tall door. And I honestly would have just done that and left it more simple, because we do have to get a variance for this, but there's no room. there's no availability to make this taller, which is probably why they put the 6'6" in there in the first place, even though it has, you know, more forehead than we might want on a design like that. So this is what we're proposing. They actually are trying to take it back to the original house shape, shingle siding here.
This is a demolition back?
No, I'm actually just leaving it there and just ripping off the roof. So the foundation, this foundation is already on right here. It's already requiring a variance in its existing footprint. The structure is actually not in bad condition. I mean, somebody vinyl sided it. It's not necessarily the most attractive, but structurally the bones are good. But it is vinyl siding, so we're going to rip off the vinyl, apply shingles to make it match the house better. And then if I zoom in here, this is the part that needs the variance because we are with our overhang less than 5 foot. And then because they're going to the expense of ripping off the roof, you know, they're trying to put an attic and fitness area up here to make it a little bit
how much
more
taller will the new structure be than?
palatable. So this is 15.5 here, and we're asking for 20. Visually, you're probably at 17 or less from the street because, you know, you you may be familiar, that really dips down.
Yeah, I was going to say that's fine because it does dip down in the back. Yeah.
You can see it a little bit there. See how tilted that car is?
Right.
I mean, so even from Catherine's standpoint, her, you know, there's a retaining wall right up against here that puts it at 2 feet taller. So technically from that position, we wouldn't even need a variance, but you know, we're taking it from here. So we're needing a variance. But just trying to keep it very modest in keeping with the existing house. That's what we're proposing to do. Again, adding shutters and some windows. This is pretty barren.
Well, it seems like an aesthetic improvement.
I think it looks great.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been back.
Yeah, it's a big improvement. Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah, it's not over 700 square feet. It doesn't have any plumbing, which is nice. So it's not a potential guest house. It's just an office upstairs.
Correct. And we're keeping it under the 700. I'm just adding this literally for aesthetics to be able to get that side facing gable, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great.
Good.
So Harry, we're talking about preliminary approval here?
No, it's just a walk-in because she's got to get the variance and stuff.
Okay.
But just to be clear, I don't have to get a preliminary approval. Next time I come back, I can ask for final.
No, you have to get preliminary and a final.
That's
the rules.
Yeah.
It's a 2-week delay, but you're on the fast track and you can tell the feels that we like it and go forward.
Harriet, if it's an alteration / addition, can't you go directly for final? I mean,
No.
we've been doing that for.
Nope.
That's how we've always done it. I agree, but it seems to.
Well, we've changed our process because last year we got ahead of ourselves. So the administrator has asked that we pull back a little bit and have some organization here. So that's what we're doing until somebody above me decides something differently.
Well, that will be 3 meetings for her then.
That's right.
It's a good use of time and people's money.
Well, the administrator's online if you want to talk to him about it, Becky.
Rob, is there any way to circumvent
We do
multiple
it
meetings?
offline.
Yeah, let's keep going because it's a walk-in and this is a bigger discussion about process.
You could reach out to me separately on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds
If it
good.
makes sense, it makes sense, and it seems to. Okay.
Thank you.
Diplomatically put. Okay.
I think Rick has something to talk
Rick
about.
has a final. Rick has 30 seconds. Go, Rick.
Go.
I need to share the screen.
29, 28.
That's when the record starts to skip. Number 9, number 9.
Number 9. Number 9. Turn me on, dead man.
That's
There we
right.
go.
Okay, so we are back up at the old Martini Bar. Where you
Ah,
you guys did not appreciate our sculptural arbor. So, for the moment at least, and probably a pretty good chance, we've abandoned the thought of that big contemporary arbor out here. But what we are going to propose is something that's probably even cooler. This is the existing floor plan where this bay window kind of juxtaposes with this shed roof, and I'll show you what that looks like in photo.
so you're looking at the small not shaded part to the
Right.
lower right.
Yeah, boy, let me get to the photos. What we're gonna talk to you about is this magical little piece here, where these two things just kind of crash into each other and doesn't kind of really make any sense. So what we want to do, because we will still really want some outdoor seating, is to keep the bar here, but expand it, and then open a wall here and put an indoor outdoor bar there. And I can come back to that, what that looks like. Phil, you didn't see this last time, but there's this door here with the big oval in it. We're proposing a pair of doors because that'll help us meet ingress and egress requirements for ADA. Plus, if you throw the doors open, you'll get a little more fresh air on the right days. So again, here's this kind of awkward piece of old architecture. I'm not sure when this happened. I doubt it was originally built that way. I don't really know. I wasn't around back then, but I'll point out kind of over here where we've got this row of kind of tall windows, and then the stone comes up underneath it. There's a picture of that as well. So what we want to do is take this existing roof and extend it across underneath the dormer that's up there. Put these windows in here, which will accordion style open like a Nana style door, which mimic very closely these that already exist over here. They're just down lower at a bar height. And this roof projects out with 6 covered bars. So it's a lot, but it's something, and it'll help activate the streets more and get the indoor outdoor thing going that COVID taught us it's a good thing. Some of us liked it anyway, but the whole world knows it now. So that's completely different than this. Here, this is, I know you guys don't like to change old buildings, but sometimes,
Is that stone to the right existing?
yeah,
It is
Okay.
mimic that as close as we can.
with real stone.
Oh,
right?
there it is.
Yeah, but here's
existing.
stone, yeah, it's not a lot,
Okay.
but honestly, Fred, Van Ness, to see what you can do, works magic at that big yard is. But, this just seemed like somewhere along the line, somebody slipped that in there. Probably the bay was there and then the roof came down over top. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I just feel like this works a whole lot better there. And it gives us some covered seating without putting that big arbor out here, and then we can celebrate the big tree that, stay there.
It does seem very comfortable with the dormer. I like the porch aspect of it because what you're going to see is that all that's going to be in shadow. I
Yeah.
think that could be really nice. It just, I mean, it seems simpler and more complete to me.
Could you go back to the photographs for me, please?
Sure. Tell me when you want me to stop, like,
Yeah, move slowly, please.
okay.
Yeah. I'm looking for the
Keep
Chagrin
going.
Boulevard aspect.
There we go.
Right there.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Oh, so you're
then-
just bringing that
so
roof
that
line
window
out.
return right there, that stays and the porch isn't gonna come that far, which I like. So that little projected glassy gable kind of stays by itself. And then really the porch just stops where the dormer stops and where that, all that wall isn't super successful as of now.
Yeah,
And then
kinda-
you're going to relocate those mechanicals, maybe tuck them in?
I'm sorry, mechanicals?
Yeah, relocate those and like tuck them in at the,
Yeah,
Corner.
there's only one there now. They can just sort of slide over.
Oh,
out
okay.
down here.
no, that does make that area make more sense. There's been a lot of just kind of jerry-rigging going on there.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Works for me.
Yeah.
Back to the drawing, please.
Sure.
Phil, you're okay with it?
Now, where is the bay? I thought you said the bay stayed.
The bay goes away. The bay would be right here. Here's
Yeah,
the
okay.
down in it. Bay's kind of half, 2/3 out and 1/3 in.
No, I like the fact it kind of activates that sidewalk on the main street there. I like that.
Right. And if there's tables out farther, and we have to be careful of that because obviously we have the parking and the seating issue, but it'll just anchor that whole thing. And you'll be comfortable sitting there because you won't feel like you're just all out by yourself on an abandoned side of the building. It looks fun.
Mhm.
Okay.
Direction.
Everyone okay with it? You guys are, Phil, you're thinking? Oh, you're nodding. Okay.
No, I think it's great. I think it's a nice addition. It keeps the big tree from being put in jeopardy for,
Yeah.
and it utilizes space that's not being utilized. And I like the fact that you're pushing out you're putting people right on that street coming into town and
Right.
increasing visibility and
This would preclude the necessity of a future pergola out anywhere there, I guess, huh?
Kind of the idea.
Pardon?
until the tree's dead.
Yeah,
Until the tree's dead.
until the tree dies, right? I'm not.
Till the
If
If
next.
the tree dies, you could make it like a wraparound porch. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
They could always ask
Don't
again,
don't put
before-
anything in his mind.
I know, I
If
hesitate.
they know.
If the tree was dead.
He'll be out
Oh,
there
yeah.
girdling the tree.
I'm-
Right, now we'll do that. George,
I'm picturing a fire pit out there with a few chairs anyways,
Yeah, that's
which is fine.
Let's approve.
Okay,
Great.
so
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
positive
Greg.
feedback. Hey, that means we're done, huh?
Yeah.
We're done.
Wendy, ABR members, I have Rob online here with us. I don't know if you wanted to talk to him about the bridge, your questions you had.
Oh, good.
Wendy's walking.
Wendy's
Hey,
walking.
Rob. So Wendy's walk-in, yeah, at the end of the meeting, how to make friends with the rest of the board. I sent around the report that Cuyahoga County put out, a while back about the bridge. And the latest plan seems to be a veneer, application of veneer to the existing bridge in order to prevent having to close the bridge over a 2-year period. This is such, we all know the bridge is the big iconic statement in downtown Chagrin Falls. Rob, I'm wondering if the Architecture Review Board could be involved on a more formal level for the mock-up portion of that?
Well, I'm not sure the exact procedural requirements for that. I know that the county is asking for a lot of community feedback when those mock-ups are done. I know some of the comments that were submitted to ODOT for the historical review suggested actual stone facing on the outside of that as opposed to just a stained imprinted, type surface. That's still very open-ended at this point. Whether the board wanted to look at that and submit comments as the board. I know that that the county is going to be, welcoming that kind of public input on the design. They very much want to design a bridge that will meet or best come close to our needs and our desires in the community. They're very sensitive to the historic nature of this bridge and the challenges that it's posing in order to build it that would be acceptable to the community, as well as have a structure that we can be proud of for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, section 106 is requiring, because that's a National Register district, and that's a resource that is contributing to the National Register district, is requiring the review.
Right.
They can't, the State Preservation Office can't stop a project, but they are very impactful about comments that come in regarding historic structures.
Yeah.
And it might help expedite the project if we were more involved as well, maybe exploring alternatives. I've been asking for a structural engineer's report on the bridge, which I have not received. I'm looking for a response to the question of, could we put a larger crew on? Maybe do the project in a year instead of 2 years? Are there other alternatives? Why is the bridge shut down if I don't have enough information to satisfy this dramatic step of really replacing or covering over the existing material on the bridge.
Mm-hmm. All of that was thoroughly reviewed and planned out by the county. There is structural analysis reports of the condition of the bridge when it was last fully analyzed. It is inspected on an annual basis, and for deficiencies, and that listed strengths.
I did read all that.
Yeah.
I read what was being presented, and I'm still not hearing.
Was what you sent us current? I think that's a year old.
That's what. So I put that request in a couple months ago. A couple times I put the request in. I just got that report, which was sent to me as the latest information they had. I think, Rob, you could talk about this, that they went out to bid.
Well,
and then the bid, and so there's been a time lag.
So when the project was originally put out to bid, they received only one bid for the project that was considerably higher than the engineer's estimate, as well as available funds. So the county then went to analyze what steps to take to analyze the situation. They met with several of the top bridge contractors in the state of Ohio. They came out here to the project site. I attended 2 of those meetings with those contractors who said that the project as bid was not buildable because of the level of risk that the contractor would have to take on to leave half of the bridge open at a time and reconstruct the other half. They just said that there was too many unknowns that could result in an immediate closure of the bridge based on what would happen, as well as a pretty severe escalation in cost, the possibility of that. So when they analyzed the single bid that was received, by law, they can't award anything that's over 10% over engineer's estimate, and this was a lot higher than that. So they went through to analyze their current specs, the method of constructing the bridge, and where the pitfalls were. The biggest issue is that there was a lot of issues of unknown with that bridge to reconstruct it in the way that it sits and still allow traffic to move. With that, the contract that bid it provided a price based on the known variables of the project, but still left a lot of open-ended statements like this. There could be time and material involved for additional cost if certain things happen. Also, they couldn't, there's some real safety concerns with leaving full truck and vehicle traffic open in a one lane in each direction fashion, and then immediately having a drop off going down to the stone archway to the half of the bridge. It would be reconstructed. It would be about a 12-foot height difference. And they said that we can't guarantee the safety of that. We don't know the quality of the material underneath the road surface that would be able to uphold that road surface right above it without sufficient stability. There's a lot more technical aspects of that I wasn't involved with, but the end result was that the county said in order to proceed with a full reconstruction, they would need to do a full closure. And that was something the village could not accept because of the impact it would have to our business community, to the traffic and safety of the residents, the overall plan. So we looked at alternatives. The county presented us with the idea of the slip form liming type bridge construction method, and that's what we're exploring now. We really did do a thorough analysis, or the county did, I should say. It's the county's project, looking at the best way to construct that bridge, and came to the conclusion that to do a full reconstruction would require a full closure for 1.5 to 2 years, depending on what would go on with that. So
the option to repair the bridge as it is off the table.
Well, there's always lower level. We did ask that question. What if you just repaired what was there, rebuilt the sidewalks the way they are, because all of those have corroded beams under them, repair the stone. That would buy some sort of extended life to it, but not the long-term life. So I don't say that that's totally off the table right now. It was discussed as an alternative if none of these other options are acceptable. It's really the county's call because it's their bridge and their infrastructure on.
Well, yeah, I'd just like to throw this out there though, because we've had this before when we did the street lights, the traffic lights in the late 1990s. Same situation, section 106, and the village ended up having quite a bit of input on that. I mean, there is the possibility just through media coverage and all to have huge input on that. I don't want to just say, oh, the county gets to decide and that's
and you're correct.
Really,
we will have
yeah, and so I do think that, some entity in the village to support you in the process needs to have responsibility for it.
Do you know whether or not the bridge structure, original bridge structure, is compromised, and are we talking specifically about the sidewalk extensions and the superstructure underneath that sidewalk extension, or the bridge as well?
The entire structure needs improvement. The sidewalks are of particular concern because of the beams that support them are rotted. That's not a question. There is concern over some of the tuck pointing and whatnot that would be needed between the stones. I don't know. I'm not a bridge engineer. I don't remember the specifics of all the details, other than they are recommending a full refurbishment of that whole structure. That's their overall plan. These are questions, if as we go through the process, when we have meetings with the county, we can ask those questions. I'll obviously let them know of the questions and concerns of this board and the feedback. And I'm sure as we work through this process, nothing will be decided overnight. We still have about a month and a half before the mock-ups are done, and those are brought in for input. We anticipate having some public meetings, and those will be widely publicized to the community to receive feedback and answer questions about the whole project.
I've been on the committee for 5 years, I think.
As I have as well.
I received no communication whatsoever for 4 of those years. So a lot of we're reaching out is what shall I say?
Non-existent.
Politically motivated to come off as we're all sitting around a campfire deciding what to do here. They have not, they just give it a lot of lip service. The State Historical Society, I'll call them, that's not their exact title, didn't like it. And they said, well, that's too bad. And I think we should really draw the line on having real stone envelop the bridge, usually put in the form of a veneer, which usually sounds like a cheap way to do something, but a stone veneer 4, 6, 8 inches wide, appropriately done would make it look like the stone bridge that it is now. The veneer of the fake concrete, it's just not acceptable. It's not acceptable.
I mean, internally, Phil and I were involved, Ann Woomwell, I think through the beautification committee, ran, I don't know how many meetings back and forth to get us to a decision on the railing. But I am not seeing that same kind of process going on about the actual bridge structure and look and public sight lines as well.
Yeah, that will be upcoming.
Okay.
So Wendy's original question was whether maybe the board could take action. I mean, obviously, it's not clear that we would have any binding ability to say anything. But what if we reconvene in 2 weeks? Everyone try, I haven't done my homework. If we just take a look at it for a couple of weeks, maybe we could make we could make a resolution as a board. It would speak more loudly than I think an individual comment from any of us.
And I'm telling you, Diana Welling at the State Historic Preservation Office, who's in charge of Section 106, and I think it's Mary Rudy, who's the person in the office who's in charge. They take very seriously if the village is not happy or is opposed to a direction. I think we have more impact. And I just, having had the traffic light experience, it's sort of a roll up your sleeves and get into it kind of thing. And I do think if the Architecture Review Board, as George is saying, does a resolution and all, it would be impactful. And that's why I bring it up. I think we need to be paying attention to this.
And I agree with Steve.
Support Rob, in support of Rob, in support of the village.
We saw a rendering. I'm sorry.
Huge difference between stone veneer and any concrete product. So I think I completely agree with Steve on that. And that's something that we could make very clear if that's one of the issues that is kind of a fork in the road for this project.
Well, and as Steve's saying, it's hard to know what issue is before what's being discussed and not being discussed.
Aesthetics is what is the main thing that will be coming up for discussion.
Public sight lines, it's all that. Yeah, okay.
Great.
Rob, how about we would like the Architecture Board of Review would like a presentation relating to aesthetics done by the county. Is that a reasonable thing to request?
I will let them know that, and I'm not sure how they're going to roll out the public meeting portion of the bridge at the next phase. I know once we had those mock-ups made up, we're going to put them on public display for about a week or two to give everyone an opportunity to look at them, and then they were going to have a public hearing or a public meeting at that point to discuss and receive that feedback. That was what was discussed with me, and then they'd have all that input on aesthetics.
I expect the mock-up to look magical. The proof is in the pudding.
That's what I told them they need to do, to make them as close as possible to what reality would be. That was a little challenging at this stage in the game. Usually under most projects, the design and coloring are all decided in the planning phase, and then the mock-ups are done right before construction. But because of the uniqueness of this project and the types of changes that are being proposed, the village pushed for the mock-ups earlier in the process, and the county had to go through some hoops to make that happen. So,
and I think it goes without saying the mock-ups on site. I don't want to see them on a screen. We need to meet.
They'll be on a trailer.
On site.
Yeah. Right. They're large concrete, structures that will be on a trailer, and we haven't decided on the final location, but we're going to try to put them over near the parking lot to Riverside Park on the trailer with, an informational board or something, why they're there, explaining to people, and then putting out some notices to folks, public notice to come and take a look at them. And then when the meeting will be scheduled, things like that.
There was a rendering that came out, I don't know, a couple months ago, sometime during the winter, showing the bridge slip lined structure.
Yeah.
And to me, it looked like you're losing, 50% of the volume that we can put through that bridge with this slip lining. And that to me is, we end up with more stone veneer and more stone looking like the bridge. But I was concerned that.
Wait, so they're significantly reducing the size of the barrel?
Let me explain that. Let me explain, please. So their initial renderings showed a reduced barrel size because the barrel that goes near the Starbucks building reduces halfway or 3/4 of the way through the bridge. It reduces before it discharges. So to do a slip lining, their initial plan or their initial design showed the reduction in the barrel, so it would be 2 symmetrical barrels all the way through the bridge. The village responded to that, including our engineer's response, that we did not want to see that. They did it because they felt the 2 symmetrical arches would be the most advantageous. And though with the slip lining process, those would have to be uniform all the way through. At further review, we asked them to revisit that we didn't find that would be acceptable. They came back and said they are able to maximize the size of both archways with the slip lining to make them as large as possible. And then in the one barrel that reduces, they would use another method as that barrel
To reduce it
before discharge. So it'd give us the symmetry we wanted on the inlet side of the bridge, and it would also maximize the barrel size. There's certain drainage and flow requirements and calculations that are part of that process as well, which our engineers reviewed, and we're in the process of still reviewing that. So it will have an impact, but it's not a 50% reduction. It's not to a point where now we're worried about a flood condition because of how we build the bridge.
Yeah.
That was a big concern of us when we saw the initial renderings, is that it did reduce flow. And although almost 100%, you wouldn't have a backup for that one time when you would get something that would block one of the inlets, some tree debris or something. If it ever did cause a flow problem, then it would really be a lot of negative feedback on the county and the village. So we pushed for that very hard, and they are in the process of engineering that to maximize both of those channels going through and minimizing the impact of drainage flow.
Do you know what the material is that they're proposing?
It's concrete. It's concrete precast sections that they would pour a base on either side against the current abutment walls. And then they would have these precast arch sections. I don't know how long they'd be, but they're lowered in and then they would be slid into place, anchored in place, and then backfilled around, or sealed.
Grouted, yeah.
And then the head walls built on either side. The one difference in opinion in the renderings that's worthy of bringing up is that the sidewalks would not be cantilevered over any longer, that the outer walls, the arch, precast sections would come all the way out to the full width of the bridge, and the sidewalks would become integral to the entire structure and wouldn't be cantilevered. So it would bring an element of safety and stability to that. So you would see more of the facing walls because they'd be further out, whereas now they're recessed with the cantilevered style sidewalk.
Oh, and
So the historic materials would remain intact underneath that?
Yeah, all the material, yes, all the stonework would be there for the original arches. The structure that would be, and again, I don't know the specifics of the sidewalk, exactly what would be removed, other than I believe the current existing sidewalks would be fully removed and then rebuilt up to the current or up to the new head wall sections because of the state of decay in the beams holding up those sidewalks.
And then the veneer is on the 2 end elevations, but not
underneath.
Not underneath. So the underneath would appear as concrete, but the 2 ends would be veneer.
Correct.
Okay.
That's
let's study that, and maybe we can.
If you could just perhaps update us through Architecture Review Board meetings as well on progress.
Sure, I assume things will be. Sure, I think things will be pretty quiet until we get the renderings in, and then they go to schedule the public meetings. That seemed to be the next step. this is a very slow process. There's nothing that happens overnight. So as we saw with the railings, that was a process that required a lot of public input, and the next phase of this design will as well. One reason that the board, or that a lot of people didn't hear about the other bridge design elements up till now, is because the whole intent was to just rebuild the roadway over the existing and rehabilitate the existing arches. So there really wasn't any aesthetics to review other than the railings up until this point. Now that we're looking at a whole different, type of structure, type of method, now that kicks in a lot more design review and elements to that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Lengthened our meeting, but a very necessary thing.
That was helpful, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you all. Not a new record, but a good run at it.
All right. We'll
Thank
catch you next time.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye to all.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Bill.